Hello and welcome to Cyber Pros training. This is a hands-on labs for Cyber Pros, and this is lab number 12. Number 12. So this lab is an interesting one. I always say that. But in this lab, we'll talk about incident response with Security Onion using the cases feature that's within Security Onion. Well, when I teach classes like the CISA Plus and the Security Plus and the CISSP, I tell students that there's only two type of company. There is those companies who have been attacked and they know they have been attacked, meaning they were able to find the incidents. And then there are those companies who have been attacked and they don't know they have been attacked. And when you look at the reports from Mandiant, for example, they would tell you that hackers, the enemies, they're usually in your environment for about 16 days, 10 to 16 days without you being able to detect them. Now, I'm not teaching. This is a lab, but I just wanted to say that at the beginning because it's exactly what we're going to be doing here. So again, this is incident response with Security Onion cases feature. You might be like, okay, well, what is this cases feature, which is exactly what we're going to talk about here. So Security Onion cases, it's a feature that is used within Security Onion for case management. So it allows the security analyst to be able to create cases, be able to track them, to document investigations. So think of cases as this centralized location where, as the security analysts, they're going in, they're investigating things. uh, they're able to document everything into this centralized location. They can kind of add those indicator of compromise IOCs. They can add comments. They can attach files. They can add observables, all kind of things. And the beauty of case is it allows you to be able to collaborate with other analysts. Oh, this is great. So that's really all you need to know about cases, and everything else I will be sort of like talking about this more once we get to it. So what we're going to do here to make this as really word as we can, we will grab a pcap file. This is like a Wireshark file from a malware traffic analysis. This is where you can kind of get pick up files that are real, like real incidents. You want to investigate WannaCry? Well, you go to malware traffic analysis and grab one of those pickup files and just do your investigation. So we'll go there, we'll grab one and then investigating that. Then we'll get into Security Onion. I will kind of give you that introduction to Security Onion, then do the case walkthrough, sort of like talk about all the features of cases. Then after that, we will SSH into Security Onion from our Kali Linux, and then we will download the pickup files that basically import the pickup file that we downloaded so that we can see some alerts. We can start seeing some alerts. And the beauty of Security Onion, you can grab things using Suricata. So we can grab some Suricata alerts. We can also get some Zeek logs in there and all kinds of stuff. And we will get these from the pickup file that we will be importing into Security Onion. Then we are going to take a look at escalating logs, right? There's three places where you can escalate logs from if you want to put them into cases. So Security Onion have this alerts tab and the dashboards tab and the hunt for the threat hunters, the hunt tab. Now you can escalate kind of logs or incidents from those three different places. Then because I want this to be as real world as possible, we were going to get into the hunting, right? So I tell people if you're going to become like a SOC analyst, well, the best skill you can learn is probably threat hunting, right? To understand how would you go in and start hunting for stuff. So Security Onion has this tab where you can be able to hunt things. So we will kind of work with that. Then from there, once we find like malicious IP addresses, we will check with things like abuse IPDB or VirusTotal to check for the reputation, if you will, of that IP address. Then we're going to finalize this by taking a look at kind of a network incidents, kind of take a look at the logs, specifically Zeek logs, to see like what exactly went down, within the pickup that we downloaded. Okay, I'm hoping this is making sense. That's why I usually start with that just this one slide, so I can give you an idea of what we are doing. With that, let's go. Go ahead and bring up your VMware workstation. Now, once you bring up VMware workstation, you should have Security Onion there. So if you don't have Security Onion installed, there's a video before this one where I walk you into the whole process of installing Security Onion. So you should do that before you go to this particular lab. So click on Security Onion and then turn on Security Onion. For this lab, we will need two virtual machines. Like I said, one is Security Onion, and another one is going to be our Kali Linux. So go ahead and click on Kali Linux and then turn on the Kali Linux as well. So click on power on this virtual machine. And after waiting for a little bit, looks like both of these machines are up and running and I can sign into both of them. There we go. Let's go ahead and close the library by clicking on that icon from VMware Workstation. I'm going to click on that icon right there. The library would disappear. Now let's go ahead and sign in. So in SOC or in Security Onion, I can sign in with SOC-admin or SOC-admin. And then I'm going to put in my IP address, the one that I used to set it up. It looks like we're on. And right here, as you can see, they're telling us access the Security Onion web interface at that IP address, the 10.0.0.101. That's the specific IP address that is assigned to this Security Onion. I can also type in IP route, for example, if I didn't know what that was. And as soon as I type in IP route, it's going in, it's giving me basically the routing information, but it's telling me that the default, meaning the router's IP address, is 10.0.0.2. And I can see some other interfaces that are connected with here, including the ones you see there. But if you look on line 2, right there, line 2, you can see where it says link SRC, that's for source. That's where it has, let me actually bring up my annotation tool here so I can get to show you this quickly. There we go. That right there, that's the source, and that's the IP address, 10.0.0.101. That's another way of kind of seeing that IP address as well. Go ahead and clear that. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to type in clear to clear the screen, and go to Kali Linux and then sign in. Sign in with Kali, and the password is Kali as well. And here we are in Kali. Now, in Kali, click on Firefox, the icon for Firefox. Let's bring that guy up. I'm going to go in and type in my IP address, my Security Onion IP. I'm going to type in 10.0.0.101.101. I'm going to press enter. It's going to take me to Security Onion and ask me to sign in. Now, again, you should have set up your username and password when you're setting up Security Onion, so yours might look a little bit different, but mine is what you see there. I'll go ahead and click on Sign In. And here we are in Security Onion Overview. Now here, you can click on the alerts. Now the alerts, this is where you see all the alerts, meaning the Suricata alerts, maybe the Bro alerts, they call that Zik now. Zik alerts, if you have those coming in, or Windows alerts, like all kinds of alerts, if you will, they're going to be here. As you can see right now, we really don't have anything because we haven't really put anything here yet. I can click on the dashboards here, and the dashboards, it does what, really what you will think it does. It gives us a bunch of, dashboards, kind of to see like how things have been happening over time. We can see the basic metrics here, and then we can track things based on the groups. But when you scroll all the way down, you start seeing some kind of alerts, right? The kind of alerts, how many of them, all kinds of stuff. So we can escalate things from alerts, from dashboards, even from Hunt, which I will be showing you that once we get to that as well. But I can click on Hunt. And in Hunt, I see some little bit dashboards, but when you scroll down, you start seeing some interesting things, including the timestamp of the events, what was taking place, what kind of message is it, all kinds of stuff there. But what I wanted to show you here, it's not these three because we're going to play around with these three once we get there. I want to show you cases. Okay. When you click on the cases, this is the case. This is the feature of Security Onion that we're talking about. From cases, you can see a few things, including the options. If you click on the options here, you can temporarily enable the advanced interfaces features, which is gonna, if you were to enable that, it's gonna give you that basic matrix. It's gonna give you the cases features. Once not cases feature, but cases a section here where you will be able to see all the cases there. So let's go ahead and turn that off and close that. And down here where you see open cases, if you click on this little icon there, you'll be able to see the open cases, the closed cases. You can also see your cases and so on and so forth. So let's say that there was a lot of cases here and there. You just want to see cases that are assigned to you. Or you just click on my cases and then you'll be able to see all the cases that are assigned to you. But how do you create a new case? Well, you click on this plus icon right there, which is really what I wanted to show you in the cases. And as soon as you click on that, they're gonna give you this here where you can start editing some things. For example, you can change the case title by double clicking on that and then give it a name. For example, this is my first case, for example. Then you click on save here as there, just click on save. And you can also give it a case description. So you can double click on the case description and just give it some kind of a description. This is my very first time creating a case. There we go. And then also save that as well. Okay, I click on save. Now we have the case name and the case description. So there's a few interesting things that you can do in cases. For example, comments. You can add a comment. If you are the analyst and you're investigating this, then you just find out something interesting, or maybe you want the other analyst to kind of know what you did. You can put that in the comment section. Then you save it or you add that to the case. So this is a comment. There we go. Then I added that to the case. Well, that gets added, but it goes beyond that. It's gonna say who added it. You can also change the comment. You can edit the comment. You can also trash the comment, meaning delete it as well. And then you have the attachments. Now, in the attachments, this is where you will upload relevant files to this particular case. Now, some of these documents could include things like screenshots, reports, for example, pcap files like Wireshark files. Basically, all you got to do, you click on the plus, then you bring in the attachments. For example, you can add anything here. Let me just grab one here for an example and just bring that in. Just double click on that, right? And then you click on add. I'm showing you this as an example. So if we were to expand this, here's the thing about adding an attachment. It will create hashes for that particular attachment. So you got SHA-256, SHA-1, MD5, and the beauty of attachments, you can add these hashes to be part of your observables. For example, if I click on this eye icon right there, it's going to escalate that into the sort of observables, right? So if I click on add, this hash that you're looking at here will be added to the observables. So we don't want to do that. Let's go ahead and click back to attachments. Then once we're here, let's go ahead and click on the observables. Now in the observables, let me go ahead and close this, just cancel that. Click back to the observables. Now in the observables, this is the section that tracks your indicator of compromise, your IOCs, like I said. Right? These are the artifacts that you observe during your investigation. For example, it could include things like IP addresses or the hash value that I just mentioned. So you had an attachment of some kind of a malware of some sort, or some kind of executable of some sort. Well, you add the observable, or the hash value in this case, to the observables. Now, the reason why you added that here, those IP addresses, those domain names, those hashes, values, the URLs that belongs to the bad guys, or that belongs to the thing that you're investigating. The reason why you added that stuff here is because you could escalate that to the hunt tab. So you can literally just right click on it and then escalate that to the hunt tab so you can start hunting for that particular IOCs, that particular observable. Then you have the event tab. Now, in the event tab, this is where they're documenting the events. So, for example, as you're hunting for a given incident, you could have, if you find things that are related to a given case, you could add that to the event. So all you do, literally, you just click on that, then you click, add that event to the case. All right, things that are related to that particular case. Now, the beauty of adding those things to the events is because Security Onion uses Elasticsearch, and Elasticsearch, after a while, they basically delete things automatically. So when you escalate things or when you add things to the events, those things they stay there, right? So again, as you're reviewing your logs, as you're looking at the alerts, you can add them to the events as well. And then you have the history tab. Now in the history, this is where they document everything that you're doing. When you add a comment, they add document here. You add attachments, it gets added here. So anything and everything that you do will be recorded in the history tab. Not just you, but any analyst that does it. Now, in the right-hand side, you can see the summary. Now, in the summary, this is where you can assign the case to some kind of an analyst. In this case, it's just to me, so I can assign that to myself. But if this was an environment where you have a multiple analyst, you could assign this to anybody. Now, the status, I can change that to in progress, or I can close this if, for example, this case was closed. So let's change that. Let's put that on the in progress. And when you scroll down a little bit here, you see the details. Now, the details have some sort of like interesting things. First, we can see the severity. If you click on that, you'll be able to see this. You can change this to low, high, medium, and things like that. There's also the priority. Most of the time, this is done based on the organization. So the organization, kind of a best practices, will tell you if this incident is around somewhere, here's how we want you to classify this as an example. So for the priority, it's usually from 0 all the way to 10. Now here we can see the TLP, which stands for Traffic Light Protocol. These are protocols, the TLP and PAP, which stands for Permissible Action Protocol. Both of these are protocols. And the first one, the Traffic Light Protocol, kind of tells you how much of information are you allowed to share with the outsider or the inside world, right? So, for example, the organization might tell you, look, you can only get these people involved in this case. And the TLP will be the location that kind of tells you who you can share the information about the case with in the organization or outside of the organization. Another one is the PAP. This is the Permissible Action Protocol, like I said. So this is it's sort of like what kind of a reaction can you take during this investigation? In another word, some companies will tell you, look, as you are discovering some observables, we don't want you to send those to places like VirusTotal. And the reason is because you don't want to alert the enemy, right? Because when you go on and you add things to VirusTotal, well, the adversaries might be watching, might be monitoring, their attack. And if you add their IP address to VirusTotal, that could indicate that they have been detected. So PAP, or Permissible Action Protocol, give us the kind of tells us the kind of a permission that we have and the kind of action that we can take or how we can react during some kind of an investigation. Then you have your category. Now in the category here, you can add whatever you want here. For example, we can say, okay, this is a malware, and that will be added there. But you also have tags. In the tag section, you can add all kinds of things. So you can say, okay, this came from China, and you put that there. You can also add this was a malware. Okay. And the beauty of adding these things here, it's because it's going to be easier later on if we're going to be searching for this particular case. So it's very important that you do that. Then you also at the bottom here, you see the case ID, the creator, and when it was created and when it was updated. So this was a sort of like an overview of this cases feature within Security Onion. So let's go ahead and bring in some real data, real attack data, so we can do an additional investigation, real investigation. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to the overview here into Security Onion. Just click on the logo there. And then let's open Firefox and go to google.com. Once you have google.com open, go ahead and search for malware traffic analysis. Okay, I'm going to show you a few things here. So go ahead and click on the homepage of malware traffic analysis. Now, this is where people go in and they put their PCAP file, meaning Wireshark file here, so that we can do some investigation on. And a lot of these are based on different years. For example, if we want to investigate of something that have happened in 2017, let's say that WannaCry attack that took place in 2017. So if I click on 2017, maybe scroll here somewhere, I should be able to find the WannaCry here somewhere. I'm not going to do that, but you can grab any one of these, right? And then download it and start kind of investigating it. So in our case, let's go ahead and use something that happened in 2020, 22, for example. So let me actually search that from Google. It's going to be easier for me that way. I'm going to go back to Google and then search for 2022 malware analysis, traffic analysis. Exercise spoon watch, for example. Let me just bring in the spoon watch. Okay. I search for that. Again, I'll put the link to this one in the chat so it's easier for you, but I just want to show you how to actually get this. From malwaretrafficanalysis.net on that spoon watch kind of a file. When you scroll down here, you will see where it says associated files and see the zip archive of the PCAP. Then you see that link right there with the pcap.zip, right? That's the file that we want. So go ahead and right click on this, then click on, let me go ahead and right click on it again. Then I click on a copy link right there. So I'm gonna click one more time so you can see it, copy the link. Then you've copied the link that we want. But now that we're here, let me show you another thing. All the PCAP files from malware traffic analysis are encrypted. So I'm going to click on the malware traffic analysis sort of like a logo right there. Then I click on about this blog right there. When you click on about this blog, it's going to tell you how the passwords are. So the password for all these files, they're like with infected, with that dash right there, with the year and the month and the day. Okay, so in our case, if I can go back a little bit, in our case here, it's going to be infected dash 2022 0107. Now that we know that, let's go ahead and open the terminal in Kali. So click on the terminal right there. And let me go ahead and zoom in a little bit here for us. And let's go into a few things. First, let's go ahead and remote into the Security Onion from Kali. So we're going to do that using SSH. So we're going to type in SSH. Let's go and start with sudo SSH. Then I'm going to say, hey, let's go to the SOC admin, right, at with the IP address of Security Onion 10.0.0.101, 101. Right. Again, I'm going and I'm saying, hey, sudo SSH into this because again, you want to do this as the administrator. I'm going to press enter. It's going to ask me for the password for the Kali. Now, this is for the Linux password. I'm going to type, I said Linux, but Kali Linux password. I'm going to type that in. In my case, it's Kali. I'm going to press enter. Now it's basically bringing me in the login page of Security Onion. So right now it's asking me, hey, you tried to log into SOC admin on that IP address. Go ahead and type in the password for SOC admin. Now, this is the Security Onion password. I'm going to go here and type in that in there. The same exactly password I used to sign in into Security Onion. I'm going to press enter and voila. Right now we're signing into the SOC admin. And how do I know? Well, if I do IP, let me just do IP route, for example. I can see that we are on that right there, 10.0.0.1. I could also have done ifconfig, just show you a little bit the other way. The reason why I do IPA is because Security have a lot of interfaces because it's using Docker behind the scenes. So there's a lot of interfaces. But the interface that we care about, if I scroll down a little bit here, is going to be EN. There we go. This one right here, EN 160, which is that guy right there. That's the IP address. It belongs to that computer. So that tells me we are inside here. We're in. And if I ls here, we can see the security onion file. But let's go ahead and create another file here. So I'm going to go ahead and just say, hey, make me a directory. And let's call that pickup directory, right? I'm going to press enter. If I were to ls again, now we have this pickup folder. Let me cd into pickup, right? And then we are in pickup. If I ls here, we have nothing. Let's go ahead and download this right here, the thing we copied here. I'm going to right click on again and then copy one more time, copy the link, then go back into the terminal. Oh, there we go. I'm bringing on a new terminal. Let me go back to my terminal here and then type in, hey, wget, right? And right click here, then go ahead and paste clipboard. There we go. And that brings the entire link for us to be able to download that zip file. I'm gonna press enter. Now it went in, it downloaded that particular thing inside of the pickup folder. So if I go to ls here, we can see the file that we just downloaded. Now right here, this file is zipped. So I need to unzip this. So I can just type in unzip and then it starts typing in 20 for the file. Then I'm going to tab this so that I can select the whole file. Then I'm going to press enter. And now Security Onion, because that's where we're doing this from, is asking me, hey, hold on a minute. What is the password for this pickup file for you to be able to unzip this? So I'm going to go ahead and type in that password. And if you remember, if I go back quickly here, it's going to be infected with that year right there. So I'm going to go back to the terminal. You won't be able to see it. That's why I wanted to show it to you. So I'm going to type in infected, all lowercase, infected with shift minus, so you can get that minus, that the one that's at the bottom. So I'm gonna say 20, 22, 01, and the 07. Again, you didn't see anything, but I was typing. I'm gonna press enter, and now the file has been unzipped, basically opened. If I were to ls here one more time, now we have two files. So we have this guy right here, and we have the older one, the zip one. So this is open, it's ready to go. Now we can import this inside of Security Onion. Let's go ahead and do exactly just that. So for us to be able to import this file, we have another command that is part of the Security Onion. So all I got to do, I got to type in sudo, because let me go ahead and clear the screen so you can see this okay. I'm going to ls again so that you get to see the file that we're about to import. So I'm going to type in sudo so for Security Onion, then type in import, and then just say pcap. So all I'm saying, hey, Security Onion, I want to be able to import a pcap file. And then now all I have to do is just point to the actual file that I want to import. So I'm going to type in 20 and then tab this. It's going to grab the one that ends with .pcap. And then I'm going to press enter. It's going to ask me for the password for the SOC admin. Again, this is for your Security Onion. I'm going to press enter after typing that in. Now it's going and it's verifying the file, then it's importing this inside of Security Onion. Now there's a lot of beautiful things that's going to take place here. First of all, it's going to give me all the suricata, meaning all the logs. And then once it finishes grabbing everything, it's going to import everything inside of Security Onion. So now I can go in Security Onion and start doing some analysis, right? Start analyzing things, start looking at cases and investigating things and kind of understanding exactly what took place with this particular incident that they capture in this pickup. Okay, Again, it's bringing in some Suricata log files and bringing in some Zeek log files, like network log files. Let's give it a minute, and it looks like it's done. There we go. So it's done. So the thing about Security Onion, when finished doing what it does, it's going to give you this long link. So if you were to right click on this, then copy this and then paste that into the browser, it's going to take you exactly to this pickup. In fact, let's go ahead and do that. But when you look at the bottom here, it's going to tell you when this took place, right? Like the year, the type of the time range. So if you want to know exactly, if you want the logs from this particular event or this particular incident, these are the time that you got to put in your security onion. Anyway, so that has already selected with this link. Let me go ahead and grab that link. I'm going to right click on that and copy the selection. Then I go into my browser here. And I'm going to open up like a new tab, and then I'm going to paste that in here. Paste that in there. I'm going to press enter. And that link takes me to the dashboard of Security Onion. And here I can see a few things. For example, I can see the time picker right here, which you got that weird timing there. But you can also see some dashboards coming up with Zeek logs as well as Suricata logs. We got a lot of networking type of logs here. And so on and so forth. If you scroll down, you see, a few other things like counting, and you start seeing some spoon watch, right? All kinds of stuff here as you're scrolling down. But let's go back up and click on the alerts. Now, once we click on the alerts, it's just going to tell us, hey, you want to see the things that have happened in the last 24 hours. No, that's not what we want. We want to see the things that took place let's see the traffic here, in 2022. So we want to see things that happen on 1st of January 2022 until the end of January. All right, let's go back here in alerts, then click on this timer icon right there, the little time icon. And right here, let's change the year to 2022. It was on January 01, 01, okay? And it could be, let's say it was 12 a.m. Just delete all that. Just put a 00 there. There we go. There we go. It was 12 a.m. All right. There we go. 12 a.m. 001. That's when it happened. And it was until 2022. January 31st. Okay, the timing really doesn't matter. I just like, there we go. So now that we have that here, let's go ahead and click on refresh. And this is going to give us the alert of the things that took place during that time. And as you scroll down here a little bit, you start seeing some interesting things. For example, we can see this. There's a malware here that that's using HTTP post pattern, and it's a Suricata event, and we can see the severity of this is high. We can also see some medium, low, and high, and medium and high. But this is interesting. So what we can do, we can escalate this to a case. And the way you do that, you click on this triangle icon, and as soon as you click on that, there will be an option that says escalate to new case. When I click on that, and it's going to disappear from here. And the reason it's because it has been added to the case. So I can go to the cases tab now, and I should be able to see the alert that I just escalated here. And if I want to see more information about this alert, I can click on this icon right there. And that's going to take me to the entire case. I can, again, go ahead and assign the case to somebody, for example, to me. I can say this case is, this alert is being investigated, right? And I can add a category and a few other things like we've seen before. We can also see other interesting things. For example, in the comments, there's no comments there, but in the attachments, there's also no attachments here. And when we click on the observable of this particular event, this particular alert, now in the observable, we can start seeing things like this IP address, the 192.168. You can also see this other IP address of 2.56.57, which has been added here to this particular case automatically. And when I click on the events here, I can start see some additional information. I can see when did it happen, the timestamp, the ID of this, the category is a network is what, how did it get reported, in this case using Suricata. And I can expand this. For example, if I was wondering, okay, well, what kind of IP addresses are these? Okay, which one maybe belongs to the bad guys? Because remember, observables are those indicator of compromise, those hashes, those IP addresses. So if I click back on the events, then expand maybe the very first one here, I can start looking at, like I said, the timestamp, but we can see a few other things. We can see how this guy here, it got imported and it's in Security Onion. We scroll down, we start seeing the destination, the country, Singapore. We can see that the geo IP, in this case, the 2.56.57. So that's the destination. That's where this conversation was going, it looks like. And we scroll down a little bit here. Again, we can see the location. We can still, there we go, the destination IP right there. We can see that it's 256.7 exactly one. It was using port 80, which is not encrypted. Okay. And from there, we can scroll down here. Keep scrolling down here to see other interesting things. We can see was a Suricata. And then we can see the message. Now, if you look into the message here, you might see some interesting things. For example, we can see the flow ID. We can also see the signature here. That tells us, oh, this is a malware and the type of malware. We can see the category of this. They said, okay, a network Trojan was detected. So all of that is within the message. And this really doesn't smell right, right? As you take a look at that, tell you it's part of some kind of a malware family and all kind of things. But you keep scrolling down here, you see the destination where it was going. Actually, you see the source. Keep scrolling down here. We get to see the source IP, which is the 168, the 192.168 and so on and so forth. So we get to see where it came from with that IP address. Now this is where the source, where actually it's coming to, right? And all this is really good information. We can also see the source port, which is dynamic. It's really not that useful in our case. So here, these are all interesting things, and we can escalate this into a hunt if we wanted to. We can just click on that icon right there and start hunting for this event. But I want to show you the history as well. Now, in the history, we can see that the case was created by me, Francois, and then we can see some other things that took place, including the events that I just showed you. So let's go ahead and click back to the cases here. Now, after knowing the source and the destination, who this computer was communicating with, one of the things that we can do, we can check the reputation, if you will, of this IP address, the destination computer that we were sort of like communicating with. So I can copy this, then I can cross-check this with the sort of like, there's a lot of databases online, but one of the database that's very common is known as Abuse IPDB. Let me, if I'm typing here, right? Abuse IP database. There we go. And then we go to this website here, and then we paste that IP address in, right? The IP address that we just find in our log here. If I check the reputation of this IP, it's going to tell me, hey, look, yeah, we did find this in the database. And if I scroll down a little bit here, start seeing some interesting things. So here's the report of this IP address. I want to see how this thing has been doing. This person here have reported this from the US. And here's some of the category that this thing were found in. But even like a few years ago, 3 years ago, somebody reported this from the Netherlands, right? And they said this thing was doing some brute force, was part of the spam. Here, someone reported this from China, reported from Germany. So as we can see, this thing have not been playing well. Like this IP address, it's not a good one. Another thing, another location where we can check these is virus total. So I can go back to Google and search for virus total. Here we go. Then I bring on virus total here. And right here, I can click on the search, then put in the IP address, paste in that IP address, the 2.57.50.56.57.108, and then I can search for that. Again, I'm searching for the reputation of this particular IP address. I want to see, okay, have other people seen what I am seeing? Have they reported this? And here from Virus Total, we can see that 4 vendors have flagged this as a malicious IP address. And here from the detection section here, we can see that these vendors, including Kaspersky, WebRoot, they all have reported this as being a malicious IP. When you click on the details inside of Virus Total here, you get to see additional information about this. If you scroll all the way down, you start seeing some Google results. And here, Google is telling us, look, Abuse IPDB have reported this, right? These malware bazaar have reported that, and so on and so forth. So as we can see, the reputation of this IP address is not good. So let's go back to Security Onion and start digging a little bit deeper into this IP address. It's gonna take me back to cases. Let's click on Hunt, all right? Now in Hunt, this is where we can do a lot of great things. Ooh. In fact, I forgot to do this, but let's go back to cases just for a second and let's escalate from here. So I can right click, right click, left click on the name of the case, and I can click on action. Then I click on hunt. That's one way of me just sort of like start hunting using this exact thing. Or I can open the case by clicking on those 3 dots, go to the observable one more time. From the observable, I can see the hunt icon. These hunts right here, these are the hunt icons. So I can click on a hunt for this observable value right there. So as soon as I click on that, it's going to take me into cases with that particular IP address being specifically, sort of like specified. But here's the problem. Right now, it's hunting for this IP address. It's looking for this IP address, but it can't see it because the time have changed to the last 24 hours. Let's go ahead and set the time right. I'm going to go ahead and click back to that time icon right there, and then change that to 2022. I'm going to make sure this was January the 1st. Okay, and this time, let's make sure this took place sometime, let's say 12 a.m. in the morning. 0 here. I'm going to delete that too and put a 0 there. I'm going to put this as a 12 a.m., just like that. And we can change this to the 2022. This is when it ended, right? 2022, I can put that in the January as well. And let me just put that on January 31st, just like what we did before. I don't have to worry about the time there. Now I'm going to click on Hunt. Okay. And now we can start seeing some, some dashboards popping up and telling us the kind of a Zeek log, the kind of a Suricata logs that were detected specifically with that IP address inside. So if I scroll down here, I can start seeing under the event, I can do a few things here. First of all, you see where it says a fetch limit? Yours is probably going to say 100. Go ahead and change that to 5,000, right? Change that to 5,000. And once you have that there, you see where it says items per page. Let's go ahead and change from 10 and then see all of it. So click on all, just like that. Select all. There we go. And right here, where you see this icon right there, this is where you can search for things. So right now, let's go ahead and search for that particular IP address. When I say that particular IP address, I'm talking about that IP address that we are concerned with. So here I can put in a 2.56.57, if I can start typing there. .57, what was the last one? .108, right? I'm going to search for this. And as I'm typing that in, it's going in, it's kind of fetching the information that I need. Now, this is interesting. So as we scroll down, we can see the timestamp when exactly this took place. What alerted this was a suricata, was a Zeek alert. Then we can see the source, where it came from. We can see the destination, where did it, like the destination computer IP address that it was communicating with. We can also see the source port and the source IP, excuse me, the source destination port, in this case, port 80, because this is an HTTP type of a traffic. Anyway, if we scroll down here, we get to kind of see the conversation. You can see that here, this computer was reaching out. All of this traffic is that computer reaching out, right? It's reaching out until it's still reaching out until it gets right here. There we go, right there. Why? Well, we can see that in the source, that's the IP address, because this is when it's responding. Now it's communicating back to this machine. So let's go into the left-hand side here and see what this machine was reaching out to. So in the rule name here, we can see some of the things that Security Onion was able to detect. We can see that the computer was reaching out to try to download something. Well, how do I know that? Well, I can tell by looking at the HTTP post right there. Then we can see at the bottom here where there was that source IP address of the 2.56.57.108, we can see a response. Now, again, basically, this computer was reaching out to download some kind of basically malware in this case, as it was being detected here. And then this computer responded. And guess what this computer responded with? It responded with this thing that's, with an executable. Those executable, they start with MZ. Every time you see like an MZ response, it's a name. It's for Mark Ziba, something. I can't remember his last name, but this was the guy who developed the MS-DOS, right? The MS-DOS back in the days. But it did responded with this. In another word, it responded with an executable, basically an executable file, .exe. And if you scroll down here and take a look at the responses that was going from that computer to that, you can see that here it is right there. We can see that from that computer going to that guy, it sent it this executable with a DLL file asking that thing to be downloaded. All right, be like, hey, you ask for it, here it is. Now you're like, okay, Francois, well, I want to know what exactly that was happening in that case. So let's go ahead and just go all the way to the left here, right? All the way to the left, tracing that. First of all, we can escalate this. We can click on that icon, and then we can add that to the case, that we created earlier there, which we will. But first, I want to take a look at dig a little bit deeper into this. So I can expand this alert right here. I see what was downloaded, and I can scroll down here, look into the message, and I can start seeing some interesting things, including that name that we just detected. I can see the file that was taking place here. But as I look at the network data decoded, I can see this was an HTTP request, which did went through. I can see there was some kind of there we go. It was an image that got sent, and that image is indeed an executable. This program cannot be run in MS-DOS, right? Let me go ahead and close this now. And so far, now we know that there's something fishy taking place here, right? There's something going on that shouldn't be taking place. And looking through all this, here is what it comes down to. Let me go ahead and expand this one more time right here. Going up here, we can take a look at this. Right here, we can see that from this computer here, the local machine, going to that, unlikely the attacker machine, we can see that there was some kind of a text file that got sent, right? Giving us an idea that, oh, look, there's some data that got stolen, right? There was the outbound post report request where the computer sent some file to that machine. Now with that, let's go ahead and add some of these into the case. So I'm going to scroll down again and then just move this to the left so we can start adding some, all of these. I can click on that, this triangle icon, and then I can create a case out of this like we said before, but I want to add this to the case that we already created about this. So as soon as you add that there, that's going to be removed. And another thing that's interesting that we find when we were doing this, it was the downloaded of executable. So I can go here and click on that and then escalate that into the case as well. Now, after escalating that, I can go to the cases tab again. And from here, I can open this case up by clicking on that icon right there. Now, if I go to events here, we can see there are some events that got added here. But also the history here shows us some of the things that we did. All right, some of the events that we escalated here. And let's say that I was able to download that file that we just saw. Okay, I could have added that here as well as a part of that indicator of compromise. Now, if I was doing this in the real world, I will go into the comment section, then I will make notes, right? Take notes of what I find, the kind of observable that I did, all kinds of stuff. Then as soon as I finish that, maybe we will respond to it, right? Maybe we will quarantine that computer. Maybe we will disconnect it from the internet so we can, remove the virus or the malware in this case. And then once we have that computer the way we want it, I will document everything that we did here. Then I will close the case if that computer is fixed as well. Now that's the end of this lab. I will see you in another lab.